welcome back to my channel. I'm Julianne and I talk about books and trying not to let them take over my entire life, whilst also at the same time letting them take over my entire life. Basically, I talk about books and how to reduce the number of books that you own, that I own. That's my quest, basically. Or if not, to reduce the amount of books that I own, to tip the balance, so that I own more books than I've read and fewer TBR books. So in today's video, I'm going to be kind of giving a little update on that because it is my review wrap up. So let's hear about all of the books that I read in August 2021. So first up, I read The Midnight Lie by Marie Rutowski. This is set in a world where society is kind of divided into three groups of people. There's the high kif, who are like the most important people who get to live lives of luxury. There's the half kif, who are kind of like the kind of in the middle. They do a lot of jobs for the high kif, but they sell things that the people at the bottom produce. And then there's the people who live in the ward, who are kind of stuck within their particular area, and they're not allowed out of it. They're restricted on what they're allowed to wear. I was really excited to see sumptuary laws taking a important role in this book, because that's something from history that I find really interesting. So the protagonist, Nirim, has grown up in the ward, although she has some characteristics of being possibly related to someone in the high kif. You know, she doesn't look exactly like she was meant to be where she is. So she lives in the ward of a woman who she kind of wishes was her adopted mother. She always wants to make her happy, who kind of took her in from an orphanage when she was young, as well as two other girls, and they kind of work for her. She's kind of running a kind of black market, so Nirim has to do lots of stuff in order to keep that going, basically producing fake passports so they can move between these areas. But then one day, at the very start of the book, there is a bird, a rare bird from the area that the high kif live in, that everybody is going completely bananas over. People want to catch it, people want to see it, and in the process of all of this fuss, Nirim ends up getting arrested and put into prison. But in the cell nearby her is a mysterious traveller from another land, who makes her begin to doubt that everything is how it should be in this world, and adventures occur. I really enjoyed this book. This is an Illumicrate edition, and I've had this on my shelves a while. I think we got it maybe last year. Let me check the date. Yes, so this came out last year. It was in an Illumicrate box last year, and I wanted to read it this month because there was the ability to buy the next in the series from Illumicrate in a matching edition, and so I wanted to see if I would enjoy this enough to buy the matching edition. You know, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and I did. That's basically sums it up. I love this. I couldn't put it down. It was so gripping. I thought the world was absolutely fascinating, and the characters are really intriguing. The romance that develops between Nirim and the stranger is really interesting, and yeah, I just really wanted to know what was going on throughout, and then when you find out at the end, it's really satisfying, and I love that in a book. And so I'm really excited to find out where it goes in the sequel. Next up, I read The Last Anniversary by Liane Moriarty. I got this years ago from like a new kind of startup book website that was giving away books for free. I think it was called Book Rabbit or something like that. Anyway, everybody signed up for this website to get a free book. Like, everybody I knew at the time online seemed to do this. And they went out of business after not very long, probably because they were giving away free books. So Liane Moriarty, I think, is best known for the book Big Little Lies. I think it's called something like that, which I think was adapted as a TV show, I think, or was it a film? I can't remember. I did look this up, but that was a while ago now. Yeah, and I had never read a book by her. And I was really intrigued by this because it's a sort of family story set on this island where there's a whole mystery over a baby who was left alone in a house. And there's various people who've tried to solve this mystery over the years. But like the main player in the mystery has just died, and she's left her house to basically like her nephew's like ex-girlfriend. It's very, very strange, but the ex-girlfriend Sophie loves the house and really, really wants to live in the island. It's like been her dream for like her life ever since she first saw this house when she was dating this guy. And it's really, really complicated because there's so many different perspectives and so many different characters, all kind of living on this island or having something to do with this island, kind of dealing with various issues in their lives. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. At first I wasn't sure because it changed perspective really, really quickly. Like sometimes you only get a couple of pages from a character's point of view or in a certain time period, and it was quite hard for me to get into that because it was just changing so fast. I felt like I wasn't really like becoming connected to any of the characters, but as the book went on, and especially when Sophie appeared, because I just loved Sophie. She just seemed so lovely, and her parents, she has the best parents. Like they just dote on her so much, and like they're really into like going out fine dining together, and it's just such a charming idea that I got really swept up in it. There's also a woman with postpartum depression called Grace, and her perspective is really compelling, also really sinister because she is so depressed, and quite weirdly rational about it. Like she kind of rationalizes what she's going through and makes decisions in what feels like a very calm, methodical way to her, but we know it's obviously postpartum depression. And that was really, really compelling, despite being quite kind of sad and bleak. So yeah, all in all, I ended up really, really enjoying this by the end, and I put it down and I then looked up the author because I wanted to see what other stuff they'd written. That's how I found out about their big famous stuff. I don't know if they've written much quite like this. I'll have to do some research, but yeah, I was really, really intrigued and I really, really enjoyed this. Next up, I read the first of 2 Illumicrate books. So this was the June book, The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid, which is set in a fantasy world where a pagan girl who doesn't have any magic, unlike the other girls in her village, is sort of sent as a sacrifice, pretending to be powerful, to the Woodsmen, who basically come around and take a girl every so often for a kind of sacrifice to the king. But then after they get attacked on the way back to the big city, she finds out that one of the Woodsmen is actually a prince, and there's a conspiracy going on, and they end up joining forces to kind of fight against this conspiracy and save the things they care about. Really, really enjoyed the character development in this. The story is really interesting because it doesn't kind of flow in a straightforward way. It flows in a quite naturalistic way, I think. They kind of meander a bit before they find out where they're going, what they're meant to be doing, and I thought that was very realistic, and it gives us time to really get to know the characters. There's also some really, really gruesome horror bits in this, which I actually loved because they were so vividly described. I could imagine them and just go, there's a creepy chicken, a very creepy chicken. And yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really, really excited to see what the author produces next. Next up, I read the July Illumicrate book, She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is an absolutely epic, first in a trilogy story. It's kind of a retelling of the rise of a Chinese emperor. But the twist is that he is actually a girl. He was born a girl who decided to take her brother's destiny after her little brother died. Her little brother was predicted to have this great destiny that he was going to become truly wonderful, and she wanted that for herself. And after he died, she thought, can I con heaven into basically giving me what I want if I pretend to be him? And yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. It's absolutely fascinating. The settings were beautifully described. The different perspectives are really, really interesting. The way that it plays with gender and also talks about the roles that people are supposed to have within the society and the huge variation within it. Absolutely fascinating. The characters, the settings, Yes, I loved this. I think this is my second favourite Illumicrate read of the year after the Jasmine Throne. The Jasmine Throne, still so good. I think at this rate, the Jasmine Throne is probably going to be my book of the year. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I am so looking forward to reading the next one in this, what I think is a trilogy. So yeah, so that's the end of my August 2021 reading wrap up. If you would like to read any of these books, I have linked to them in the description box. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and if you would like to read a free novella set during the first 2 weeks of the first lockdown in the UK due to COVID-19, you can check out my book, Unlucky in Lockdown, also linked in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. You'll see me again soon. Bye!